Hello there and welcome to the JARVIS AI Mark 1 Android development course. Throughout this course, we are going to be learning about Android development by building an awesome project that is JARVIS AI Mark 1 application that will be similar from the Marvel's Iron Man movie. I already have two courses on JARVIS AI Desktop Assistant using Python programming, and one of the course is bestseller on Udemy platform and other one is highest rated. And there was a lot of requests from my students to make a virtual assistant Jarvis for Android devices. And on popular demand, I present to you JARVIS AI Mark 1 course for Android devices. Throughout the course, we're going to be learning about Android development, and in our virtual assistant, we are going to be adding more than 20 plus features using which we can interact with our virtual assistant similar to the Iron Man movie. I'm really excited to build this awesome application with you in the course. So what are you waiting for? Click on that enroll button and get started now. I'm waiting for you inside the course. Hello and welcome to this course in which you're going to be learning how you can create your own JARVIS AI voice assistant for Android, which will be similar from the Marvel's Iron Man movie using Java programming and Android Studio. We are going to be covering the basics of Java programming as well as the Android development, and we are going to be using Android Studio for our app development. Once you are familiar with the basics of Java and Android Studio, we are going to be working on our JARVIS AI Mark 1 project using Android, and we are going to be making this a virtual assistant throughout this entire journey of this course. We are going to be adding a lot of features into our virtual assistant, and at the end of this course you will be able to add your own features into this JARVIS AI. So if you're wondering who am I, my name is Jarvis and I will be your instructor throughout this course. I have more than 5 years of experience in teaching different programming languages like C, C++, Java and Python, and I'm really excited to teach you next everything about JARVIS AI Mark 1 app. So what are you waiting for? Click on that enroll button and get started now. I'm waiting for you inside the course. This is just a demo video of the course. If you want to access the full course, it is available on udemy.com. You can check the first link in the description and get up to 90% discount today. So what are you waiting for? Click on that link and get full access to the course. Hello and welcome to the first video of this course. So in this particular video, we are going to be setting up our development environment for our Android development. So for that, first of all, we need to install this particular piece of software named Android Studio onto our system. So let me show you a step-by-step process of setting up our development environment. So first of all, we need to open our preferred browser, whether it be Chrome or any other. And in the search, we just need to search Android Studio, download, and we will get this first result that will be download Android Studio. So we will click on this first link and it will redirect us to the official website of Android Studio. And you can see here is the option to download Android Studio here, and this will be the latest version of the Android Studio. So I will just click on download Android Studio and it will ask me to accept the agreement. So we will just scroll down, and in here we need to select this checkbox and click on download Android Studio, and it will start downloading it. So the Android Studio is around 913 MB, so it will take few minutes to download. You can see it is showing 3 minutes. So let it get downloaded, and on this page we can see different functionalities of the Android Studio application, and it is available on this download page. So you can see insightful APK analyzer, fast emulator, intelligent code editor, and what all things are there, real-time profiles, flexible build system, and much more. So you can go through this page to get more knowledge about the Android Studio, and you can see here are different versions of Android Studio that you can download from the bottom of this page. So you can see there is an option for Android Studios, and these are the older version of the Android Studio. So if we scroll down, you can see system requirements as well. So if you're using a Mac, then these are the system requirements, and if you're using Linux, then these are the system requirements. So you can just go through the system requirements, and if your system fulfills this requirement, then Android Studio will work totally fine on your system. If you are on Mac or Linux, the download process will be similar, but the installation process might be different for you. So you can install it according to your operating system, and it is quite simple. You just need to click next, and it will automatically install that for you onto your system. So it is showing around 1 minute to download the Android Studio. So let's just wait for 1 minute. Till then, I will just click on this dismiss and we go on platforms. So let's see what all things are present over here. So you can see Android 13, the latest version of Android. So there is something called Camera X, a Jetpack library to help make camera apps development easy and consistent across 90% of the Android devices. So if you want to use camera for any kind of application that you are developing, then you can use this Camera X library. So I think now the Android Studio is downloaded successfully onto our system. So we will just double click on it and try to install it onto our system. So the installation process has started and it is asking for the administrative permission. So I will just click on yes, and I will give the administrator permission to this Android setup. And you can see this is the welcome page for setting up the Android Studio. So we will just click on next and we will click again on next. And if you want to change the location of the Android installation, so you can do that from here. So I will just keep it to the default and click on next. And you can see it is asking for start menu folder, so it will be Android Studio itself, and we will click on install. So it will start installing it onto our system. So it will take few minutes to install it onto your system depending on your system speed. So I am using an SSD, so the installation process is faster for me, but if you are using a HDD drive, then the installation process might be slower for you. So if you are into software development, then I will recommend you to upgrade to an SSD drive on your system. So it will boost up your development speed as well as it will save you a lot of time. So let's wait until this installation process is finished. So I think it will take few more seconds to install it. So you can see now the installation process is completed. So if I click on next, so you can see the Android Studio is successfully installed onto our system. So if you want to open the Android Studio, then click this checkbox and click on finish. So it will launch the Android Studio onto our system. So you can see that it is asking import Android Studio settings. So we don't want to import any settings. So we will click on OK. And you can see here is the Android Studio Dolphin. So if you want to send usage statistics to Google, then you can click on this button. And if you don't want to send your data to Google, then click on don't send. And voila, we have successfully installed Android Studio onto our system. So I think you are able to install Android Studio onto your system successfully. So now we just need to set up few things in here. So we will just click on next and we will keep the settings to standard mode. And I want the Dracula theme. You can also go with that light theme. So you can see here is what it looks like. So I want to go with the Dracula theme and we will click on next. And on the next page, you can see if you want to change anything here. So we are going to be installing Android emulator and all these other things in here. So we will set it to the default and click on next. And in here, we just need to scroll down. And if you want to go through this agreement, you can go through this agreement and click on accept the agreement. And similarly, we need to also accept this license as well for Android SDK preview license. And we will just scroll down and click on accept and we will click on finish. So it will start installing the remaining packages which are required for our Android Studio. So let these things get installed and I will get back to you. I want to add one more thing in here. So this download totally depends on your internet speed. So if you have a really good internet speed, then it might take less time for you to install all these packages onto your system. So this thing is totally dependent on the internet. So it might take longer time for you if your internet speed is slower than mine. So I have around 50 Mbps internet speed. So this is what the speed I get when I download all these packages from Android Studio. So sometimes in between this installation process, it will ask for administrative permissions. Then you just need to provide that to complete the installation process. And after that, you will get this screen. So downloading components, and we have successfully downloaded all the components that are required for Android Studio now. So we just need to click on finish, and the entire setup for Android Studio is completed now. So you can see here is the welcome screen to Android Studio, and we have successfully completed the installation process of Android Studio. So congratulations, you have finally installed Android Studio onto your system, and we're going to be starting with our first project in the next section of this course. So without further ado, let's move to the next section of this course. So in this session of the course, we are going to be setting up our development environment for Java programming. So for that, we are going to be installing an IDE named VS Code. So we will go on our Chrome browser and we will search for VS Code, and you will find this first link, which will be download Visual Studio Code. So you can just click on it and you can download it for any system like Windows, Linux or Mac. If you're working on Mac or Linux, you can just click on download and install it for your appropriate system. So let me tell you what is VS Code IDE. Basically, it's an code editor that works with all other programming languages as well. So you can also use Eclipse or IntelliJ for your Java development, but having a different program for each and every programming language, it's space consuming, as well as it will slow down your system's performance because you are installing a lot of software on your system. So if you're using VS Code IDE, you just need to install this IDE, and you can download the extension for each and every programming language. It supports almost all the programming languages, and you just need to install the extension and it will start supporting that language on the VS Code. So you can go through here and you can see that it supports a lot of programming languages that you can use in VS Code IDE. So I will recommend you to use this VS Code IDE for your software development work. So it supports almost all the programming languages like C, C++, Java, Python. So I mostly work on web development as well as machine learning. So I mostly use VS Code IDE for my development, and sometimes I use Sublime Text for a quick correction in the code. So if you're a software developer or a student, so if you will start working with VS Code IDE, it will help you a lot, and you can let me know if it helps you in your development work or not in the review section of the course. So let's get started with installing this VS Code IDE onto our system. So we will just click on download, and it will start downloading this software onto our system. So I have already downloaded it on my system, so I will just cancel the download, and we will go into the folder where I have this IDE downloaded. So we will just double click on this exe file, and after that we will click on next. We will accept the agreement. We will click again on next, and we will select the folder or path where we want to install this software, and we will click again on next, and we will click on next, and we want to create a desktop icon of it. So we will just add that, and you can go through the other options that it is showing. So I will just keep it as default, and I will just select create a desktop icon. We will click on next, and it will ask you to install. You just need to click on this install button, and it will start installing this onto your system. And once it is downloaded, when you right click, you will see there is an option of open with code here. So we just need to click on it, and it will start this VS Code ID inside this folder. So you can see that it is right now inside our Java folder. It has started, and you can see here is the exe file of VS Code. So first of all, we will install the extension pack for Java programming here. So we will just click on this icon of extensions, and here we're going to be searching for Java, and we will hit enter, and there will be a first result of Java extension pack, and we're going to be installing this entire extension pack onto our system. So we will just click on install, and it will start downloading these packages for us onto our system. So we do need to install each and every package one by one. It will install the entire pack of this all piece of extension onto our system for Java development. So let it get installed. Till then, we will just talk about what is Java programming and how it is different from other programming languages. So basically, we are learning Java programming for Android development, and we will be focusing on how we can learn Java for Android development. And we are going to be further in the course, we're going to be developing some apps using Java programming. So basically, we're going to be focusing on Java programming for Android development, and we're going to be learning Java programming with practical based knowledge. We're going to be making small projects and programs that will help us to learn about Java programming, and we're going to be learning all the concept of OOPS as well in this course. And we're going to be first starting with the basics of Java and how the things work in Java. We're going to be learning about that, and after that we're going to be moving further into OOPS concept of Java as well. So it will be an exciting course for you. It will be totally hands-on project based course in which you're going to be writing the code, and you're going to be learning about each and everything about it step by step. So once we have done with the Java programming, we will move towards installing the Android Studio onto our system, and after that we are going to be creating some small apps that will help you to get a knowledge about how you can create an Android app onto your device or AVD or your personal phone. You can directly connect your phone onto your system, and it will directly install that app onto your mobile phone, and you can take a look at the app using your phone. As well as we're going to be using AVD, which is a virtual device manager, using which we can install a virtual device onto our system that will be virtually present onto our system, and we can try to run the apps on it and see if it is working as per the requirement that we have added on the app or not. So that will be a thing as well. We are going to be further in the course, we will try to learn Kotlin as well. After we are done with the Java based learning of Android development, we will move towards Kotlin, and we're going to be learning how you can create Android apps using Kotlin as well. And at the end of our course, we are going to be making an virtual assistant app that will help us into our day-to-day task. If you're aware of Google Assistant, that it can take the input through the voice and it can perform some operations. So basically we are going to be recreating that in the form of Jarvis, and we're going to be making a Jarvis app, and I will be also showing you how you can publish your apps on Play Store. So I think the extension pack has been installed onto our system now. So let's try to create a file, new file. I'll name it as, so we will name it as first program, and just keep in mind that the file name as well as the name of the class should be the same. So we will name it as first program.java, and we will save the code. And you can see as soon as I hit enter, it is asking me for some Java extension guide. So as you can see here is an option of configure Java runtime, and after coming here we can just select the latest version of JDK, which is JDK 15, which is Java Development Kit. It consists of the exe file that we can install onto our system. So I will just select JDK 15 and we will click on open, and it will take you to a website, and it will automatically start downloading this JDK onto our system. So let it get downloaded, and after that we're going to be installing this JDK onto our system. So now it has downloaded the OpenJDK onto our system, which is the version 15. So now we are going to be installing this JDK onto our system. So we will double click on it. So after that, it will show us the next option. We will click on next. We will accept the agreement, and we will again click on next. And after that, we will just keep all the things as default. We will click on next, and we will click on install, and it will ask us for administrator permissions. So we will wait till it shows a pop-up for that, and we will just select the yes, and it will start installing it onto our system. So it won't take long. It just took me 5 to 10 seconds to install this. So OpenJDK hotspot. So we will just click on finish, and we will just go back to our VS Code, and we will just click on reload window. So it will reload the window, and after that you can see that if we just close this thing, and if we try to do so in this program, what we will do is we will create a public class first program, and inside that, and in the next line we will do public static void main, and inside here we're going to be passing string args. So as you guys can see now, when I type sys, it is already showing me some suggestions. So I can just select that suggestion, and in here we can just type hello world, and we will add an exclamation mark here, and at the end of the statement we need to add a semicolon to show that it is the end of the line. So after that, if I just try to save the code, and if we try to run it, so it should run the code for us. So let's see if it prints hello world or not. So it is asking me for some permission, so I will just allow it, and you guys can see we have written our first Java program, and it is printing hello world for us. So congratulations, we have successfully installed the Java JDK as well as VS Code IDE, and we have written our first program in Java. So that was it for this session. In the next session, we're going to be starting from the very basics of Java programming, and we're going to be taking a look at what is a class, and why we are writing this public static void main, and what is sysout println, and how you are printing out this hello world onto our screen. So without further ado, let's move to the next session of this course. So in the previous session of the course, we have set up our development environment for Java programming, as well as we have created our first program using which we are printing on a terminal hello world. So if you are getting any kind of errors or issues while installing Java or VS Code IDE, you can leave them in the Q&A section, and I will try to reply it as soon as possible. So in this session of the course, we are going to be taking a look at what are this classes, and why we are using this main method, and how this system.out.println is printing out this hello world, as well as we are going to be taking a look at what are the variables. So let's first start by discussing what is this public class first program. So as you guys can see, the name of our program or the file which we have created is firstprogram.java, and the name of this public class is also the same. So if what happens if I just remove this program from here, so if I try to save this, and if I try to run the code again, so you guys can see there is an error, could not find or load main class first program. So in Java, the name of the file as well as the name of the public class should be same. So I will just correct it again, and I will just type here program first program, and if I save the code again, and if we try to run it again, so you can see now it is again printing out hello world. So you just need to keep in mind that the name of the file and name of the public class should be same, and otherwise it will create this kind of error. So you can just also take a look at the error, and if you're getting the error, so you can easily find out what a mistake you're doing. So it will give you an error that will be could not find or load main class first program, or whatever the name of your program is. So if this error comes up, so you will be able to like solve it easily by just naming the public class same as the name of the file. So after that, in the next line, we have public static void main string args. So in Java, what happens is the execution of the program starts inside this main method. So there can be like a number of methods, but the execution of the program starts in the public static void main itself. So in that we have written system.out.println. So this statement, which is system.out.println, is used to print out a line onto our terminal or to give an output to the user. So we are writing system.out.println, and inside that we can like pass a string or whatever we want to pass in here. So we can even change the text. We just need to like write something like first Java program, and we will try to add some exclamation mark, and we will just click on our terminal and we will run the previous command again. So you can see for Java program, so it is printing it out on our terminal. And we are also adding a semicolon. So it is because we want to show our Java program that this is the end of the line. Here is the statement is ending, so we are using the semicolon. So there are few more things which I would like to mention in here. So there is a thing called comment. So the comment is a piece of text that the Java compiler doesn't execute. So if I just add double slash here, and if I write like this is a comment, so it will not execute this line for us. So it is helpful when we want to like add a comment above a piece of code that states that what is the use of this piece of code. So if you want to like show that what is the use of this line of code, so we can add it prints on the terminal. Okay, so we can add these kind of comments into our code. So there are a number of ways you can write the comment. You can put it here, or you can comment out this line as well. So if I comment out this line, it will not show any kind of output to us. So you can see it is executing the program. There is no error, but there is no output as well. So I will just try to uncomment this line again. So there are different ways of adding comments. We can add multi-line comments as well. So for that I will add a slash and a star, and after that we will add a star and we will add a slash to close the comment. So using the multi-line comment, we can add multiple lines of comment in here. So if you want to write a paragraph or a description about the function you have created or whatever the code is, so you can add this is a multi-line comment. So you can see that this part is in the green, so you can understand that this is the comment, the part which is in green. So these are the comments that we are adding into our code. So these are the multiple ways you can add comments into your program. If you want to comment a line, you can just click on control and slash, so it will comment out the line for you. So I will add the shortcut for doing comment. In the next line I will do shortcut for comment equals to control plus slash. So it will comment out the line wherever you want to comment the program. You can just click on that and just click on slash, it will comment out that part for you. So this is how you can add single line comment and multi-line comment into your program. And you can see that we have discussed about public class. That should be one public class mandatory in the program. There cannot be more than one public class in the program. So it will be the name of the file that we have, that will be the public class, and the other will not be the public classes in the program. So that is also a thing that we need to understand. So after this I will just save the code, and if we try to run it, so you can see that it is printing out this part, but it is not printing out the comment part which we have added. And if I just add a random line in here like hello, and if I try to save it and run it, so you can see that it is showing me an error. So I will just try to comment out this part, and if we run it again, so you can see there is no error and it is running the code. So basically comments are used to show the user or the programmer that what is the use of that piece of code. So this is how you can add multi-line comment and single line comment in Java, as well as we have discussed about this a public class and public static void main. So that was it for this video. Let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of the course, we have taken a look at what is the basic structure of a Java program, what is a public class and what is public static void main, as well as after that we have seen what is system.out.println and how we can print out our piece of code onto our terminal. After that we have seen what is a single line comment and what is a multi-line comment. And if you have any doubts regarding this video, so you can leave them in the Q&A section, and I will try to solve your issues or your doubts as soon as possible. As well as if you have a bigger doubt, so I will try to make a specific video about that a specific topic and add it in the course, so you can just leave them in the Q&A session of the course. So in this video of the course, we are going to be taking a look at what are the variables and what are the data types. So for that I will just add, so in the next line what I will do is I will add a comment here and I will just type here variable. So basically variable is a place where we can store a value. So if you want to store a value like such as we have a value of 5 or we have a value of 10, so we want to store it somewhere onto our system. So for that we use variables to store the value for us, and each variable has its data type, such as it can be integer value, or it can be a decimal, or it can be a float value. So for that we specify the data type, and we can create a variable such as value equals to 10. So here is how you can create a variable with the data type. So this int is the data type of the variable which stores a decimal value, and the value is the name of the variable which we have created, and 10 is the value inside that variable. And we also need to add a semicolon at the end of it, so it shows that it is the end of line. So basically there are different types of data types that are available in Java. So I will just list down them. So I will just add here what are the types in integer. So integer has byte, we have short, after short we have int, and then we have long. So these are integer data types. So it has some kind of capacity that it can hold, or it is having a specific size of data that it can store. So byte can store only 1 byte of data, short can store 2 bytes of data, integer can store 4 bytes of data, and the long can store up to 8 bytes of data. So after integer values we also have float values, which are the floating point numbers. So for that we have float, in float we have float, and we have double. So basically there is a size difference between float and double. So float can store up to 4 bytes of data, which is bytes in bytes, and the double can store 8 bytes of data. So this is the basic difference between these data types. There is a integer data type that have different types of data that it can store. It can store a byte, which is a single bytes, short it can store 2 bytes, int can store 4 bytes, long can store 8 bytes. In the float we have float values that can store 4 bytes, and double can store 8 bytes. So after that we have characters. So I will just go in the next line. We have char data type that stores the value in 2 bytes. It takes 2 bytes of data to store the values, and basically let me show you how. is it created. So we can type char ch, we add equals to, and we add single quotes, and in that we can add a character like A or B or whatever the name of the character is. So here is how you can create a character value. And after that, in the next line, what we will do is we will talk about Boolean values. So what is a Boolean value? Boolean value just takes one bit to store the value, and the values, possible values of it are true or it can be false. So it is used when we want to like determine if the value or the output will be a true or false. So at that time we use the Boolean values. So it only uses one bit of data to store the values such as true or false, which are in the form of 0 and 1. So that's why it only requires one bit of data. And after that we also have strings. So what is a string? Basically, string is a sequence of character, and in that we can like write a name or something like that. So we can string name equals to, and it can be Java or whatever the name is. So here is how you can add a string in Java. So let's just try to create the variables and see the output of it. So first of all, I will just create an integer value variable value equals to 10. After that I will add a semicolon, and in the next line I will just create another variable f value that will be equals to we will do 12.35, and we will add an f at the end of the value, so the compiler will be able to determine if it is a float value or not. Otherwise by default it takes it as a double value. So we can also create a double value. We can type double b value equals to, and we can type a bigger number here, and we can add something like this, and we can add a colon, which is a semicolon, and at the next line we can also try to create a long, we can add a L value equals to, and we can store a phone number or some kind of bigger number which takes 8 bytes to store the value, and at the end of it we need to add an L. So the compiler will be able to determine whether it is a long value or not. And in the next line we will just try to create a character ch which will be equals to A, and we will add a colon, semicolon, and at the end we are going to be creating a string value which will be name equals to, and here we are going to be typing Java, adding a semicolon, and we will do system.out.println, and here we are going to be typing or printing out the value of, we are going to printing out the integer value 10. So after that, in the next line, so after that what I will do is I will just copy this line down, and I will be just replacing the values. So for copying down the line, in the next line what we need to do is we need to type shift plus alt plus down arrow. So I will just type here down arrow. So we just need to click this together, and it will copy down the values or the print statement for us a number of times, and I will be just replacing the values or the name of the variables. So I will just add L value, it will be ch, and we also need another one for string. So I will just replace it with name, and we will try to save the code and we will try to run it. So let's see the output. So you guys can see that it is printing out this line as well, which is the first Java program. So I will just comment out this line, and after that you can see that it is printing out whatever the values we have entered here. So this is how you can create variables, and we have also studied about data types which are available in Java. So that was it for this video. Let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of the course, we have seen what are the variables and what are the data types. So in this video, we are going to be taking a look at what are operators in Java programming. So for that, I will first of all just comment out this part which we have written in the previous video, and we are going to be starting with a new line. So I will just create a new line here, and in this new line we are going to be adding another comment, and in that we are going to be studying about operators. In Java, so basically there are operators in Java. So the first one is addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. We have modular operator, and we also have plus plus, and we have minus minus, as well as we have equals to operator. So let's just study all the operators one by one which are available in Java programming. So first of all, we will be taking a look at what is an addition operation. So in the next line, what we will do is we will create a variable name num1 equals to, and we're going to be setting a value of it as 5, and in the next line we will do int num2 equals to 10. And if you want to create multiple variables in the single line, what you can do is I will just comment out this line, and we will add a comma here, and we will add num2 equals to 10. So this is how you can add multiple integer values with the same data type in a single line. So you can separate them by adding commas in between. So if you want to add another value, so you can just do sum equals to 0. So using this we can like add multiple variable names in a single data type. So right now we have an integer data type, and the num1, num2 and sum are all of integer data type, so we can just separate them by adding commas. So if you want to create one integer and one float value, so you cannot use this conversion. You just need to add it in the next line. We need to first of all specify what data type we are going to be using. So in this we will just try to float f num1, so we can add a float value inside it. Here is how you can like also create multiple variables in a single line. So I will just comment out this part. So the next line, first of all, we are going to be taking a look at the addition operation. So for that I will just do sum equals to num1 plus num2, and we're going to be adding a semicolon, and in the next line we will do sysout, and in that we're going to be printing out the sum. And if we want to add some text, so we can also add some text. The addition equals to, and we can just concatenate this both outputs by adding a plus in between. So what it will do is it will add a string which will be the addition equals to, and it will add our sum as well with it. So this is a plus operator used to concatenate while printing out the statement, and this is an addition operation. These both are different. So basically we are testing this right now, which is the addition operation, and this is used to concatenate a string and an integer value together. So after that we will just try to save the code, and if we try to run it, so you can see that the addition of 5 plus 10 is 15. So we can see here is the output of the addition. So accordingly you can perform different operations. So we will just try for the subtraction as well. We can just subtract, and we will just replace it with output equals to, and we will just try to run the code. So you can see 5 minus 10 is equals to -5. So you can see here is the output. So what I will do is I will just make it 15 and we will save it and run it. So you can see now the output is 5. And if we try to divide this number, so let's see the output. So you can see the output is 1 while we are dividing the number. Let's try to multiply the number and see the output. And if we try to run it, so you can see the output of 15 into 10 is 150. So here is the output that we get after multiplying the number. So what you can do is you can just create n number of outputs for it and try to print it out. For the addition, subtraction and multiplication, division, you can try it yourself and see by changing the values and see the output if it is working for you or not. Let's try dividing the number once. So once we are done with the multiplication, we will try to divide the numbers and we will add a division symbol here, and we will try to save the code and try to run it. So it will return the quotient for us. So here is the quotient after division. What is the quotient? So it will return 1 is the quotient. And if you want to get the remainder, we can use the modulo symbol, which is the percentage symbol, and if we try to run it, so it will give us the remainder after the division, what we get as the remainder. So it returns it in the modulo or modulus operator, and while we are dividing it, returns the quotient for us. So this is how you can like perform different operations, mathematical operations onto variables. So after that, we are going to be taking a look at what is plus plus and minus minus and what is equals to operator. So let's talk about the equals to operator first. So you can see here we are using a variable sum which is equals to, and the operation which is performed here. So basically equals to operator is the assignment operator that assigns a value to a variable. So basically you can see here as well that we are assigning a value of 15. So it is basically an assignment operator that is used to assign a value to a variable. We use the equals to symbol for assigning the value to a variable. So after that, we are going to be taking a look at what is plus plus and minus minus operator. So for that, what I will do is I will just try to comment out these two lines. And in the next line, what I will do is I will do sysout, and inside this sysout we will do num1 plus plus, and we will try to save it. And if we try to run our code, so we should be able to see the output. So you can see right now the output of this line of code is 15 only. So what I will do is I will just copy this line down and I will just remove the plus plus from it. And if we run it again, so you can see in this line the value of num1 is 15, and in the next line the value of num1 is getting 16. It is changing the value to 16. So we use the num1 plus plus to add a 1 in front of the value. So whatever the value we have, like we have here 15, we can also try it with 10 as well. So it will add a plus 1 to this number. So let me try to show you in the code itself. So what we are doing is we are doing num1 equals to num1 plus 1. So basically we are performing this operation by just adding a plus plus, so it will automatically add a 1 inside the value. So it is doing 15 plus 1, which is 16. So if we try to add it before the variable, so right now we are adding it after the variable, so it is giving us the changes in the next line. So if we do it in the same line, so it will print 16 in this line itself. So I will just try to comment it out and let's see. So you can see both the output are 16 right now. So basically it is changing the value of this num1 in this print statement itself. So if we add it plus plus num1, so it will do the changes in this in the same line, and if we do num plus plus, so it will do it in the second line, which will be the next line after the statement where we are doing it. So you can see we are getting 16 here, and if we go up a little bit, so you can see we are getting 15 16 values. So this is how we can perform different arithmetic operations on our Java code. So if you have any doubts regarding that, you can leave them in the Q&A section of the course. So that was it for this video. Let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of the course, we have taken a look at what are the different operators in Java, which are all the arithmetic operators that we can use to perform different operations onto our values that we have in a variable. So in this video, we are going to be taking a look at how we can take an input from the user through the keyboard into a variable. So for that, first of all, we will just comment out the previous code which we have written, and in a new line, we're going to be typing out scanner sc equals to new scanner system.in, and after that we're going to be adding a semicolon at the end of it. And I think it has not imported the package for me, so I will go at the top of the program, and here before the name of the class we will type import java.utils.scanner. So basically scanner is a package that is already available in the Java. So it is available in java.utils.scanner, and it is used to take the input from the user through the keyboard. So here what we have done is we have created an variable of type scanner, and it is equals to new scanner system.in. Basically we have created an object using which we are going to be taking the input in this sc variable. Using this sc variable we can take the input, so it is of type scanner. So basically in Java there are two types of data types, which is primitive and non-primitive. So the primitive data types are like int, float, and short, long, which we have already studied. So you can see here these are the primitive data types like byte, short, int, long. So it has a specified value which it can store, like it can store 1 bytes, the float can store 4 bytes, but this is not the case with non-primitive data types. Scanner or the sc variable which we have created, it is a non-primitive data type that we have created by the user, and the primitive data types are created by the Java itself. They are predefined, so we cannot change the value of that. So we can only change the values of non-primitive data types. So this is a non-primitive data type that we have created, which is sc, and the value of it is not defined. So now what we will do is we will just go to next line. So after that, in the next line we're going to be creating a variable name number, and it will be equals to sc scanner object dot next int. So we are going to be taking an integer value, so we will just select this next int, and it is a function, so we will add brackets and a semicolon. And in the next line what we will do is we will first of all we will try to add a sys out before taking the input from the user, and we will just try to type enter number, and we will add a colon here, and after this we will do sys out, and in that we're going to be printing out the number to the user. So after that I will just try to save it, and we will try to run it. So you can see it is asking for an input, so we can add a number here, and it will try to print out that number for us. So this program is working well, and it is taking the input from the user. So let's try to make a program that can take two numbers and add them. So we will just make few changes here. We will do enter a number 1, and we will just try to copy this both lines down, and we will try to take the number 2 as well here. So we will do number 2, and we will name it as number 2. After that, in the next line, we'll create a variable name sum equals to number plus number 2, and after that we'll just try to print out the sum, and after that we will try to save it and try to run it and see the output of it. Enter number 1, 13, 12, 25. You can see here is the output that we are getting after addition of 13 and 12. So to make it look better, we will do something like this. We can do here number plus, and we can do here number 2 and after that we can add equals to. After that we will try to save it and try to run it and see the output. We will type 15 plus 15. So you can see that in the output we are getting 15 plus 15 equals to 30. So it looks much better. So you can do something like this in the print statement by adding a number and concatenating it with a plus symbol. After that we are concatenating the number 2, and again we are concatenating it with a equals to string, and we are finally giving it the sum or the output that we have. So this is how you can take the input from the user. You can take different kinds of input, like next int is used for integer value. You can do next float. You can similarly do if you want to take an string input, so you can do sc.next line, so it will get you the input for that as well. So this is how you can take the input from the user through the scanner class. So that was it for this video. If you have any doubts regarding this piece of code, if you are getting any errors or issues, so you can leave them in the Q&A session of the course. So let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of the course, we have taken a look at how we can take the input from the user using the scanner class and take the input from the user from the keyboard and store the values in a variable. So in this video, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be taking a look at what are the conditional statements, which is if else and else if. So for that, first of all, we will just comment out this part of code, and we are going to be adding a new line, and in that we will be adding a comment, and in here we're going to be doing conditional statements, which is if else, and we also have else if. So we are going to be using all these conditional statements one by one. So first of all, we will be using the if statement. So for that, first of all, we will try to uncomment this line of code from here, this 3 line of code, which is taking an input from the user. So we will be taking an input from the user, which will be number, and in that we are going to be, in this if statement, we will do number mod 2 is equals to 0. So basically we are creating a program that will give us the output if the number is even. So we will just do sysout, and we will just type number, and I will concatenate with it with a string, which will be is even. If this condition is true, then the number which we have entered is even. So after that, we will just try to save the code, and we will try to run the code and see the output. So here I will type an even number, which is 4, and it should print 4 is even. So if you want to check a specific condition using Java code, so at that time we can use the if statement. Inside that if statement we can add a condition, whatever the condition is, and we will be able to run the code inside this block, which is the if block. So if we want to also check for the odd number, so what we will do is we will add a new line. We'll type else, and in here we will be just copying this line, and we'll do the number is odd. So we will be just changing this part, and we will be saving the code. And if we try to run it again, so we will type here 3. So you can see the output is 3 is odd. So what basically this if else is doing is, in this line you can see there is an if statement, and in that we have a condition, and basically it is testing for this condition. If the condition is true, at that time it will execute this line of code which is inside this if, and if the condition is false, then it will go to this else block and it will execute the line of code which is present in this else block. We also have an else if block, we can also use that. So for using that, I will be just doing else if. We will be checking for 0. So basically 0 is neither even nor odd, it is a neutral number. So for checking that, what I will do is I will just cut this line and I will be pasting it here, and I will be just copying this line in here, and we are going to be replacing this if condition with number is equals to 0, and at that time the number is neutral. So we will type here neutral, and we will try to save the code. And if we try to run the code again, and this time we are going to be passing the value 0, and if we hit enter, so it should give us the output as 0 is neutral number. So we will be also adding number here, type here number, and if we try to save the code, so let's just try for all the conditions one by one. So first of all we will try for 0 is neutral number. We'll try for 2, it is an even number. Let's try for 3, and 3 is an odd number. So basically we have used all the conditional statements, which is if else and else if. Using that, we have created a program that can determine whether the number is neutral, even or odd. So that was it for this video. So in the next video of the course, we are going to be taking a look at what are the conditional operators. So without further ado, let's move to the next video of the course. So in the previous video of the course, we have taken a look at what are the conditional statement, which is if else, else if, and there is another one which is the switch case. So before moving towards the switch case conditional statement, we are going to be taking a look at what are the conditional operators in Java. So for that, first of all, we will just comment out the code which we have written in our previous video, and I will just try to minimize this thing so you can see the full screen. And I will go to the next line. I will go to a new line and I will be adding a comment, and in that I will just type conditional operators. So basically, what are the conditional operators? So for example, if you want to check between two numbers, that if the number is greater than, less than, or not equals to, or equals to, as we have checked in our previous video with the 0 number, so we are checking the input if it is equals to 0. So this is basically a conditional operator. So let me list down what are all the conditional operators. So we have greater than, we have less than, we also have greater than equals to, we have less than equals to, we also have not equals to, and at the end we have equals to. So we are going to be taking a look at each and every conditional operator one by one. So for showing you the output, I will just do sys out, and in here I will be doing, let's take a number like 10 is less than 9. So let's try to save the code and try to run it and see what output we will get. So basically it will give us the output in the form of boolean values. So you can see that it is giving us the false value, like the 10 is not less than 9. So if we change this to 10 is greater than 9, so it will give us the value true. So you can see here is the value true that we are getting, and it is in the form of boolean. We have discussed the boolean in our variables and data types video, where we have taken a look at what are the boolean values. It is basically in the form of 0 and 1, or you can tell it as true or false. So it only requires 1 bit of space in the memory to store these values. So it stores the values in the form of 0 and 1. If the condition is 0, then at that time it returns false, and if the condition is true, at that time the value which is stored in the memory is 1, so it returns the true output to us. So let's just try with something else. Let's make it 10, and we will do if it is greater than or equals to 10, at that time also it will try to print true. So you can see, and if we do it is less than or equals to 10, at that time also it will print true. And if I do it as 10 is equals to 10, at that time also you can see the output is true. And if I do it 10 is not equals to 10, so it will return false. So you can see here are the outputs that we are getting in the form of true or false. So you can try each and every conditional operator by yourself and try to check the conditions, different conditions in the print statement, and try to see what boolean value you get. So after that, what we will do is we will try to create a simple program that will show us if the user can vote or not. So for that I will just create a variable age, which will be 18. Let's set it to like 19 for now, and we will add some if condition here, and inside that if condition we are going to be using this conditional operator to check the age. So we will do if the age is less than 18, so at that time we'll do sys out, and inside here we're going to be printing out that you can't vote. And let's say we will add another if condition, and inside that if condition we will do if age is greater than or equals to 18. At that time we want to print out that the user can vote. So we will just add it here. We'll do sys out, and in here we will type you can vote, add exclamation mark, add a emoji here, and we will try to save the code. And if we try to run it now, so you can see right now the age is 19, so it should print out that you can vote. So let's see the output. So you can see here is the output. If we make it 18 as well, so at that time also it will try to print that you can vote. And if we make it 17, so it will now print that you cannot vote. So you can see here are the outputs that we are getting. So using this you can try to make different programs, small programs that can use conditional operators, and try to show you the outputs, different outputs that you can get using the conditional operators. So that was it for this video. In the next video we are going to be taking a look at what is the switch case conditional statement in Java. So without further ado, let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of the course, we have taken a look at what is a switch case statement and how we can create a basic program that is a calculator app using which we can perform mathematical operations on two inputs that we take from the user, and what is the use of break statement. So in this video, we are going to be taking a look at what are the logical operators in Java programming. So for that, first of all, I will just comment out the code which we have written till here, and I will be explaining you what are the logical operators. So I will add few spaces in here, and after this I will be adding another comment, and I will just type here logical operators. So basically we have three different logical operators. The first one is AND, we have OR, and we also have NOT. So let's take a look at all these three different logical operators. So first of all, let's see what is an AND logical operator. So basically AND is if you have two different conditions, if both of them are true, then only it will be like giving us the output. So let's try an example. So basically we are taking two different input from the user, and if we want to check if the input that the user is giving are same as these two, so let's say number is equals to 5, and we will add and number 2 is equals to 10. Let's take this example, and if this is true, so we will do sysout, and in here we will type true, and after that we will save the code. And if we try to run the code, it will ask for us for two different inputs, and let's see what output we get. So I will just type here 5 as an input and 10 as 2. So you can see it has run the statement or the code for us. If I give it some other input as the second number like 12, so you can see that we are not getting any output. So it is because like we have added an AND operation. So basically it checks for both the conditions that we add in this if statement. So you can see we have added a condition which is number is equals to 5, and the number 2 is 10. So at that time only it will print out the statement. You can add multiple numbers of AND statement in here. So you can do something like this and add another input, or if you have to check for multiple condition at the same time, you can try to add an AND symbol and try to check for multiple conditions. So this is how you can use logical AND in your code. Let's take a look at what is logical OR. So if we add this pipe symbol which we have below our backspace key, so you just need to press shift plus this pipe symbol, so it will add this pipe symbol. You need to add it twice, and if we try to save this code, and if I give it the same input like 5 and 12, so you can see it is printing out true. So this is because it is checking for this condition, if this condition is true or if this condition is true. As the name suggests that it is checking for OR condition. If one of the conditions that we are passing is true, at that time it will run the piece of code inside it. This is not the case with the AND. If any one of the condition is false, it will not run the code inside it. And let's try for the NOT. So what it will do is I will just remove this part from here, and I will just add a NOT, and I will add another brackets here. Okay, so if I save the code and if I try to run it, so let's try to give it an input as 5, and let's give it a 5. So you can see it is not showing us the output as true because we have added the NOT condition, which is a not logical operator. So what it will do is it will not print out true unless and until we provide some other value other than 5. So if I just type here 6 and 6, you can see now it is giving us true. So AND operation is used to reverse the condition basically. So if your number input is 5 and you don't want to take the input as 5, so you can just add a not logical operator and it will give us the value as false whenever this operator is there. So this is how you can use logical operators in your Java code. So if you have any doubts regarding this, you can leave them in the Q&A session and I will try to solve that doubts for you. So without further ado, let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of the course, we have taken a look at what are the logical operators in Java programming, which are AND, OR and NOT. So in this video, we are going to be moving towards loops. So for that, first of all, I will just comment out this part and I will be just going down, and in here we will add loops. So basically loops are used when you want to perform a task repeatedly. So for example, if you want to print hello world 100 times, so you won't be doing system.out.println 100 times hello world. So to overcome that, we have loops. So basically there are three types of loop in Java, which is for loop, while loop, and we have do while loop. Let's see first what is a for loop. So let me show you the syntax for it. So we will just type here for, and we will create a program that will print hello world 100 times. So for doing that, first of all, in the for loop, inside this bracket, we need to type int I. We need to initialize a variable which is I, and we will put the value of it as 0, and after that we will add a semicolon, and after that we need to provide what is the condition. So let's provide a condition which is I is less than or equals to 100. So basically we want to print the output 100 times, so we will set it to 100 and add another semicolon, and at the end of it we will just type I++ to make the loop run again and again. So basically what we are doing here is we have created an variable which is int I, so it is set to 0, and after that we have given the condition and we have said that I should be less than 100, and until then we want to run the loop again and again, and at the end of it we want to do I++, and it will be repeatedly running the loop again and again. So let me show you the output of it. So we will add curly brackets and we will type sysout, and we will here type hello world, and I will just add few exclamation mark, and we will try to save the code. And if we try to run the code, so you will be able to see that it has print hello world 100 times here. So using this loop we can run a code multiple times again and again. So it is first initializing the loop which is set to 0. After that it will be checking for the condition and it will be doing I++, so it will be incrementing this value of I. So after that, let's create a program that will print out the tables of the given number. So let me take an integer value num, which will be equals to 5. Let's say we want to print out the table of 5. So for that I will just copy this part from here, which we have written in the case, and we are doing system.out.println, and we are printing out the multiplication. So I will be just replacing that here, and I will be just replacing this thing with I, and this number with num, and we're going to be performing an multiplication operation here. So we will type mul equals to num into y, and we will add a colon at the end of it, and let's define the data type of this variable. And if we try to save it, and I will just set it to 10 now, less than 10 or less than equals to 10. I will try to save the code, and if we try to run the code, so it should print out the table of 5. So you guys can see here in the output it is printing out the table of 5, and like it is also printing out 5 into 0. So we just want to print out 5 ones are and 5 twos are. We don't need 5 zeros are. So to overcome that, we will just replace this value of I to 1, and we will just remove this equals to symbol from here. And if we save it again, so this time it will be just printing out the table from 5 ones are. So let's see the output. So you guys can see here is the output, and I think we also need to add the equals to here, so it will be printing out till 5 tens are. So you can see here are the outputs that we are getting for each and every value of the table. So this is how you can create a simple program that will print out the tables for you easily. So you can just take the input from the user by just adding this line of code from here. So I will just try to copy this line of code. I will be just replacing this here. I will be uncommenting this part, and I will do number. I will be just replacing it with num. We will try to save the code, and if we try to run it, so let's say I want to print out the table of 10. So you can see here is the table of 10. I just need to input the value of that number that I need the table of. So let's try for 24. So you can see here is the table of 24. There are some tables that are not easy to like learn. Let's say the example is 17. So if you want to like print out the table of 17, you can just type here 17. It will print out the table for you. So this is how you can create a simple table app that will provide the tables for the appropriate number that you add. So that was it for this video. In the next video, we will be taking a look at what is the while loop in Java. So let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of the course, we have taken a look at what are the conditional operators in Java programming, as well as we have created a basic app that tells the user if they are eligible to vote or not using their age. So in this video, we are going to be taking a look at what is a switch case statement in Java programming. So for that, first of all, we will just comment out this part which we have written in our previous video, and we will go back here in the conditional statements. And after this else if, I will just add a comma and type here switch case. So basically switch case is a part of conditional statements. So for that, first of all, what I will do is I will just copy this code of taking 2 inputs from the user, and we will paste it after this code, and we will be creating a simple application that will be so basically we are going to be creating an calculator app that will perform different operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division using the user input. So for that, first of all, I will just uncomment this line, and I will just uncomment this part, and we will be taking 2 inputs from the user, and we will be performing different operations according to the user input. So after this, what I will do is I will just copy this line again here, and we are going to be asking the user for inputs that what operation they need to perform. So I will type here press 1 for addition, and I will add a \n, so it will take the other part into the next line. So I will just copy this part and pasting it here, and I will be just replacing the values from it. So it will be 2 for subtraction, and it will be 3 for multiplication, Similarly, we will do for division. The input will be 4, and at the end we will be performing modular operation. So I will just add here percentage symbol, and the input will be 5. And after that we will be just replacing this number with input. So we will create a input variable, and we will just remove this line of code from here, which is for addition. And after that, in the new line, what we will do is we will just type switch, and inside this we are going to be passing the input that we are taking from the user. So we'll type here input, and inside this switch case, what we will do is, first of all, we will create some cases. So we will create the case 1, and in that case what we want to perform, so basically case 1 is for addition. So we will just try to copy this line of code that we have here, and we will try to paste it inside this, and I will be just adding a tab here. And after that, I will be just making few copies of this case and changing the values from it. So for the case 1 it will be addition, for the case 2 we will be doing subtraction, so it will be SUP. For subtraction we will be replacing the symbols from here. So subtraction, we will add a minus symbol here, and at the end we will be just replacing it with sub. Similarly, we will be doing for the division. So we will just replace the variable name with div, and we will be adding a division symbol here, as well as we will be adding it here and replacing the value with div. I think at the number 3 we have multiplication, so we will be just replacing the values here itself. And at the 4th number we are going to be, and in the 4th case we are going to be checking for the multiplication, so we will be replacing it with MUL. Same with the symbol. And with the variable as well. After that, at the end we are going to be checking for modular operation, so we will be just replacing the value of, or the name of the variable with mod, changing the symbol, same in the output as well, and the name of the variable. And there is another thing that we need to do. We need to add a break after each statement. So let me first show you by running the code in the same condition that we already have, and at the end of it we also need to add a default value. If any of the condition is not true, then what output it should show. So for that we will just add a sysout, and inside that we will type invalid input. And so if I just try to save the code, and if we try to run it, so it will be showing all the outputs in the output section. So if we just try to run it, so okay, it is showing me some error, so let me check some. Okay, I will just remove this part from here. I'll save it again and we will run it. So you can see it is asking me for the input. I will pass 5 and 55. So it will ask me for the input. Let's do addition operation. So you can see it is showing us all the operations in the output, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modular operation, as well as it is printing out invalid input. So to overcome this, we need to add a break statement after each line of code. So we will just add that. If we do break here, and similarly we will do for other cases as well. So what it will do is, after this piece of code is executed, these two lines, it will break out of this switch case, and it will directly go to the other code that is outside this switch case. So we will be adding break after each and every statement or each and every case, and after that we will try to run the code again. And in the default value, you can add whatever the default output you want to show to the user. So in our case, we have added invalid input. So we will be checking for each and every condition one by one. So let's try to run the code and try to give the input. Let's see. So you can see, if I give the input as 1, which is the addition operation, it has performed the addition operation and it has break out of the switch case. And if we do similarly for the subtraction, and if I provide it 2 numbers, and if we do input as 2, so you can see it has subtracted the value 15 minus 5 is 10. Let's try for something else. Let's try for division. So you can see 9 divided by 2 is 4. So if you want to like show the numbers in floating point numbers, so you can add a double here. So you can create a double input here, and it will be like showing the floating point numbers as well. So let's try for another input. Let's try multiplication. 6 5s are, so you guys can see here is the output. 6 5s are 30, and at the end we will try for modular operation, and you can see here is the output, which is 0. Let's try for an invalid input. So let me give it like 9 input. So you will be able to see that invalid input output that we are getting if we provide any invalid input. So this is how you can use switch case statement in your Java code. And if you have any doubts or issues regarding this switch case, so you can leave them in the Q&A session of this course. So that was it for this video. Let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous video of our course, we have set up our Android Studio onto our system, and we have successfully installed it onto our system. So if you have any issues while installing the Android Studio onto your system, then you can let me know in the Q&A section of the course. So I will definitely try to help you out with that. So in this particular video, we are going to be setting up our first project for Android development. So for that, first of all, we will just click on this new project to start a new project, and you can see there are some pre-written templates in here. So you can see different templates in here, so we can select that particular template that we want. So right now we need an empty activity, so we don't want anything from here. We just need to select this empty activity and click on next, and in here we just need to name our application. So throughout this course, we are going to be creating this wonderful application, which is going to be an AI assistant JARVIS. So we are going to be naming our application as JARVIS AI, and I will add a hyphen mark 1, and you can see the package name is also .com example .jarvisai mark 1, and the save location is set to C drive, and you can see the language is there, so we can select which language we want to create this application in. So by default it is selected Kotlin, but we are going to be using Java for this particular application. And to select that, we just need to click on this drop down and we can select between these two languages. So we are going to be using Java. So I will just select that, and you can see the minimum SDK requirement. So this will be the minimum requirement for the Android version for your application. So anyone with Android 5.0 Lollipop will be able to use your application that we are going to be creating throughout this course. So I think we should keep it to the default, and you can see that your app will run on approximately 98.8% of devices. And after that, we just need to click on finish to create this particular app. So after clicking on finish, it is trying to install some particular package. I don't know what it is. So you can see Android SDK platform 32. So it is trying to install this particular package onto our system. So it might take a few seconds to install this, and you can see it has installed this particular piece of library onto our system. So we will click on finished, and it is trying to create an application for us. So this thing will take few seconds, and it will create multiple files into our system, and you can see it is asking for some permissions. So we will just click on allow access. So it is asking for the internet permissions, I think, and let's wait. And you can see here is the main activity.java file, and if we just try to make it full screen, so you can see what's new in the Dolphin and what all things are there. So you can just go through it and take a look at different features that this particular Android IDE provides, and what all things are new to this Dolphin version of Android Studio. So for now, we will just minimize this thing from here, and it is still loading different files for us. So we just go here to the XML file. So this particular file, which is main activity.java, will be the backend, and the entire logic, or if you want to add any features into our application, that will be done through this main.java file. So this main activity file is really important for creating our application, and activity main.xml file will be the front end of our application. So whatever we see in the UI elements will be created through this activity main.xml file. So it is taking a long time for some reason. So let's wait for a few seconds. So it is downloading all the required packages because we are starting this application for the first time. So it might take few minutes to start this particular project, but later on, if we create a new project, at that time it won't take that much time. So because it's the first time we are launching an Android application onto our system, it is trying to download all the required packages, and it is trying to do the Gradle build. So let's wait until all the files are loaded, and I will get back once all the things are up and running. So it took around 5 minutes, I think, to set up all the things for us. So now you can see all the files are loaded, and we are able to see all the files in here. And if we click on activity.xml, so you can see here is what the XML page looks like, and you can see the hello world text in here. So I think you are successfully able to create your first app in Android Studio. So I think that was it for this particular video. In the next video onwards, we are going to be writing our first piece of code and trying to create a simple application. So without further ado, let's move to the next video of this course. So in the previous section of the course, we have set up our development environment and started our first project, that is JARVIS AI Mark 1. But before getting started with the main application, we need to understand some basics of how this application is going to be working, and understanding the basics of the Android Studio. So for that, we are going to be starting a new project, and we're going to be creating two different application in this entire section. The first one will be for converting text to speech, and the other one will be converting speech to text. So for that, we are going to be starting a new project. So we will click on new project, and in here we're going to be selecting empty activity, and we will click on next. And in here we're going to be giving our application a name that will be text to speech. And after that, let's see if we want to change anything here. So the language will be Java, and after that we will click on finish. So it will start a new project for us, and it will take few seconds to set up all the things for us and creating a new project for us. So in this entire section, we're going to be creating two basic projects using which you will be getting hands-on experience of the Android Studio and understanding the basics of Android Studio. So you will be not confused further in the course whenever I will be doing some things where there's a particular Android Studio. So you will be getting the basics of it. And the first project will be converting the text to speech. So in there, we are going to be creating a text field where we can type something. So let's say you type hello world, and there will be a button over there to speech, and it will be converting the text into speech using that particular button. And after clicking that button, we are going to be creating a function in our main activity.java that will convert that text into speech. So right now we will just click on activity.xml, and you can see the project is ready and all the files are loaded. So you can see here is hello world application that is by default created by our Android Studio. So right now we will just click on it, and I will put it here, and we are going to be changing the text in here. So let's see, where is the text? So we are going to be changing this text to text to speech, and if we hit enter, so you can see now the text has been updated to text to speech. And after that we will add a plain text in our application. So we will add it here, and we'll just make it a bit large, and you can see there is some pre-written text here. So we don't want any text to appear when we open our app, so we will just try to remove that. And after that, you can see here is a plain input for our text. So whatever text we write in here, it will be converted to speech after clicking a button. So before adding the button, we will just set this text box here, and we will just try to do this thing where we are going to be setting the position for this particular text box, and it will be on this particular place. And after this, we will add a button in here. So we will click on button, and in here we're going to be adding a button in the middle of our application, and we will just add another string to this button. And now our text box will be placed right here, and we are going to be also changing a text for this button. So we will add it as text to speech, and the name of the button will change in here as well. So you can see here is the button, and we will just set it in the middle, and we're going to be also adding some strings here. So whenever we open our app, this button will appear right here. So if we don't add this kind of strings in here, so it will be appearing anywhere on our screen. So we are just trying to tie this thing up, and you can see right now all the strings are tied, and it will be placed right here. So once we are done with this, we can click on this particular button where we can see the code for this XML file. So there is another option for split view as well. So you can also see the UI as well as the code view of the XML file. So we have created this text view, which is the heading of our application, which says text to speech. And we have created another text input where we can take an input from the user. So you can see here is that thing. So we are going to be renaming this. So from here, we will just remove this part, and we will set it to edit text. So this will be the ID using which we can refer to this particular text box in our main activity.java. And also you can see there is the input type and some other things as well. And you can also see that we have created this button, which is named as text to speech, and the ID of the button is button. So we can use this ID and we can refer this in our main activity.java. So now I think the work of the XML file is finished, and we have created the UI for our application. So in this file, we need to create our function. So for that, first of all, we need some variables. So in here, we are going to be creating some variables that will be for button. So we have this button widget that we have created in our UI. So we are going to be giving it a variable name as btn click, and we will add edit text. That will be a variable name text, enter. And we are also going to be creating a variable for text to speech. So we will type here text to speech, and we will type here text. So once we are done with that, we're going to be writing some code inside this protected void on create. So inside this particular on create function, we are going to be writing some code which will help us to convert this text that we enter in this text box to speech. So we'll write btn click is equals to, and in brackets we're going to be passing button find view by id, and in here we're going to be passing r dot id dot button, and at the end of it we will add a semicolon. I think we have forgot to add a semicolon in here as well. So using this piece of code, it will try to find out the id of our button that we have created here. So using this piece of code, it will be able to locate this particular button, and whenever we click this button, we can add a function call when we want to like convert the text to speech. So after that, in the next line we will add text entered, that will be equals to edit text, and we will do find view by id r dot id, and we're going to be using its id to find out the text input. So we will type here text edit text, and if we go back here, so you can see that we have created this particular variable here, edit text, and in here we will just need to add a semicolon at the end of it. And after that, we have declared this particular two variables, and we will be able to find this two button and text enter using this variables now. So they are binded with this two variables. Now after that, we need to create this function using which we are going to be converting the text to speech. So we will type here text to speech, that will be equals to new text to speech, and inside this text to speech we need to pass get application context, and we need to add a comma here, and in the next line we will add new text to speech on click listener, and we will get this pre-written code here. So we just need to change this I to status, and after that in here we will do if status is equals to text to speech dot success. At that time we want int language will be equals to text to speech dot set language. So here we are setting the language for the text to speech. So we are going to be using the English language. So we will type here local dot English. And after that, at the end of it, we're going to be adding a semicolon. So using this line of code, we are just trying to see if there is text to speech available in our app. And if that is true, at that time, we are going to be setting the language to English. So we can add text in English and it will try to convert it into speech. So we have set the language as well. So after that, we will just try to add a semicolon at the end of this function. And after that, in the next line, we will do btn click dot set on click listener. We will do new view dot on click listener, and we will get this pre-written code. So whenever we click on this button, so in here we will just type string s, that is equals to text entered dot get text dot toString, So in here, what we are doing is we are just trying to convert the text that we are getting from the input field into a string, and we're going to be passing this string to our text to speech function. So we will do int speech, that is equals to text to speech dot speak, and in here we're going to be passing the s string. So whatever input we are getting from the user, we are going to be passing it in this function, so it will convert that text into speech, and we will do text to speech dot q underscore flush, and we will add a comma, and we will do null, and after that we will add a semicolon at the end of this code. So after this, we are done with our code. So this thing should convert whatever text we add in our application, and whenever we click on this button that is text to speech, it should convert that. So let's just try out this application on our Android device. So let me just try to connect my Android device with our system. So after connecting my device, you can see that my phone is showing up in this devices, but by default your phone will not support this. So you just need to do some settings to set this thing up. So you need to open your settings and click on about phone and click on your build version 10 times to enable developers mode, and after that you just need to go and scroll down here, and you just need to go to additional settings, and if you scroll down you will be able to see developers option, and you just need to click over there. It might be different for your device. You can just search it on Google or YouTube, so you will find out how you can enable developers options on your device. So it is different for every Android device. So if I just try to scroll down here, so you will be able to see that there is an option for debugging, and I have enabled USB debugging, as well as I have enabled install via USB. So you just need to allow these two permissions, and you will be able to connect your device with your system like I have done here, and it is showing up in my device list. So once you're done with that, you just need to click on upload, and it will just try to upload this application onto our device. So let's just wait until this application is uploaded onto our device, and let's just test this thing out. So as you guys can see on the screen that the Android application has been installed on our Android device successfully, and it took like hardly 10 to 15 seconds to install it onto our Android device. So now let's just try entering some text in here. So let's just see if we add hello world, and if I just click on text to speech button, it should convert this hello world to speech.
Hello world. Hello world.
So I think you are able to hear that. So if I add a big sentence here, so if I add in this course we are learning about JARVIS AI Assistant, and if we just click on text to speech,
In this course we are learning about JARVIS AI Assistant.
so you can see that our application is working perfectly fine, and if we add a bigger sentence as well, it is able to convert it into speech. So you can just try it out, and if you get any issues or errors with this particular code or this particular application, you can let me know in the Q&A section of this course. I will definitely try to help you out with that. And I think that was it for this particular video. In the next video, we are going to be creating another application using which we will be converting the speech to text. So that was it for this particular video. Let's move to the next video of our course.